The Harlem Renaissance was a turning point for African Americans. The Harlem Renaissance symbolizes new beginnings, ideas, and the birth of jazz alongside many other arts. Certain musicians during the Harlem Renaissance had lots of impact on society and the ideas of people. Louis Armstrong was one of the most popular musicians during the Harlem Renaissance. Armstrong set a path for future African Americans with all his work and talent. For example, popularizing wordless scat singing with his hugely popular vocal on 1926 Heebie Jeebies. Armstrong often played music for silent movies during this time. Armstrong's West End blues proved to the world that jazz was capable of producing high art. In 1929, Armstrong had a role in a Broadway production, Nightly. He was the only African American with these opportunities at the time. He proved African Americans can do just as much as white men could, and be just as talented. Armstrong's groundbreaking vocals and music had lasting effects on jazz and the history of black music in this country. His music's tone was playful and upbeat, creating something everyone could listen to. For example, those are marshmallow clouds being friendly. This song of his Weatherbird is far from serious, and it shows how the world can be looked at in multiple ways. Armstrong's songs showed the world during this time that music could be looked at as fun and different, not judgmental and unequal like in other places at the time. Jazz music was initially popularized towards the end of slavery. You can trace the evolution of jazz from its start in the slave songs of the South to the adoption of jazz, popularizing by many, including Louis Armstrong. This quote shows the effect of jazz and how it brought people together due to the diverse culture around it. Creating music was also something anyone could do. No one needed tons of money or instruments to do this. Traditionally, the Harlem Renaissance was thought of as a literary movement centered in Harlem. This narrow view has changed, and the Renaissance is viewed as a more national movement with connections to art, music, and culture. With all the black artists emerging, whites had to admit that black artists were talented and deserved a chance. In all, the Harlem Renaissance, in large, was created by the migration north and rise in the black middle class. They brought their musical traditions of the blues and their African heritage. There was a change in attitude towards assimilating into white American culture. Jazz reached a broad audience and brought black American artists and their culture into acceptance.